All right. Well, good evening, fam. Hey, it's your brother, G. Hightower, the Entanglement Coach, and coming in for an early version of the Late Night Love Chat. And tonight, we're going to deal with emotional strongholds. Yes, emotional strongholds. They are the barrier to healthy love relationships. A lot of us don't realize. And I talked about this briefly on my broadcast last night. However, I want to go a little bit deeper into it tonight and maybe shed some light for some, and maybe help us to kind of overcome some relationship blind spots. Now, what is an emotional stronghold? An emotional stronghold is something that sets up in the heart and the mind of us where either trauma or a betrayal or rejection or um, someone who has at some point in your life, whether it's a platonic relationship, a family relationship, or a romantic interest, where they abandoned the relationship and just kind of left you stranded, left you hanging, right? Or as we say, utilizing today's terminology, we call it ghosting. And so, if you've been through any of those levels of what we call a soul wound, a wound of the soul that impacted you mentally, emotionally, impacted your will, where you shut down for a few days, you shut down maybe for a few weeks or months. You couldn't eat right. You were having bad dreams. You couldn't sleep right. Right. So there was a disruption on the inside, and it caused you to have a really, really strong um, emotional response. And ultimately, it caused you to shut down emotionally to the degree that you haven't entertained any healthy relationships. And so I wanted to talk about that tonight. I just wanted to come in briefly and actually just announce that we're going to delve into this topic deeper tonight in our discussion tonight for the late night love chat. But I wanted to come in briefly and talk about, uh, as they say in seminary training, I'm going to talk about what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to talk about, and then I'm going to talk about what I'm going to talk about, and then I'm going to tell you what I told you. But seriously, family, I wanted to come in tonight and really share with you in a wonderful opportunity that I am presenting, and that is our Preparing for Real Love group coaching. Preparing for Real Love group coaching. That is a 4-week relationship intensive that begins tomorrow, March 7th. It begins at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, of course, if you're in the Central Time Zone, it's 11 a.m. If you're in the Pacific Time Zone on the West Coast, that's going to be 9 a.m. your time. Listen, these sessions are going to be life changing for you, because what we're going to be delving in tonight, when we come back later on tonight, we're going to be delving into wounds of the soul. We're going to be talking about soul ties. A lot of people are deceived into believing that they don't have any pre existing issues, no soul ties, just because they've been abstinent, or a lot of people use the term celibate. They've been celibate for a long time. But just because you haven't been with anybody doesn't mean that you're still not being impacted by a soul tie. Listen, the soul, first of all, let's go ahead and address this so we can help a few people tonight. All right. So, first and foremost, you got to understand that the soul consists of our mind, our will, and our emotions, has nothing to do with the physical body. So, even if you have been celibate or abstinent for quite a while, you can still be heavily, deeply impacted by soul tie. There are people at work, on the job, they call this man she calls him her work husband. This man on the job calls that woman his work wife. That's a soul tie relationship, and it's called a spiritual spouse, where you are connected to that person in the spirit. You are connected to that person. Your souls are intertwined, your souls are entangled. And so that kind of relationship can exist even if sex has never played a part in that relationship. And it can become a tremendous hindrance. Now, if this man or woman, if they are married, ultimately who pays the price is the spouse at home, who's not even aware of how y'all goings on, how y'all carrying on at the workplace, right? So that part is super important. Words matter, family. Every word matters. All right. So let's talk about this. So an emotional stronghold, something that sets up on the inside of us, and it becomes a barrier to healthy relationships because once we have set with that thing for a while, or it is set up on the inside of you for a long time, now I am reluctant, I'm resistant to get in relationships because there's a barrier there. All right. It's a deeply rooted pattern or a deeply rooted belief system. Watch this. Now, the belief system is in me, even if it's not true. For example, let me give you an example of a emotional stronghold. Thank you all for coming in. Blessings to you. I see you all coming in. Welcome to the Late Night Love Chat. I'm coming in really briefly, family, for those of you that may be interested in joining our relationship intensive called the Preparing for Real Love Group Coaching, which is a 4-week relationship group coaching. But tonight I wanted to just come in and broach this topic, and we'll come back tonight and delve deeply into it. All right. But let me give you an example of an emotional stronghold. When you hear, let's say, a group of women that says, "Oh, girl, you can't trust these men nowadays because all men cheat, all men are dogs." That kind of statement is indicative of someone who has an emotional stronghold. Where she is speaking from, she's speaking from her own point of reference. She can't speak for all men. She can't speak for all women who are married or in relationships, because the reality is all men don't cheat. I'm grateful that I was blessed to be raised by a father who was married to my mom and never involved in anything like that. I'm grateful for that. I'm very grateful for that relationship. I'm grateful to have a spiritual father who he and mom have will be celebrating next month 55 years of marriage. Unfortunately, when you've been hurt or you have allowed yourself to take in a lot of negative information from others, it frames our thinking. And then we begin to look through the lens at life and relationships through the lens of hurt and disappointment, rather than looking through the lens of faith and real love, right? Now you doubt anything is good. I just recently read some commentary from a group of women, professional, educated women, by the way. And there was a man on stage who was thanking God for his wife. And he alluded to the fact that she had been down with him during the struggle. He didn't say anything about what that struggle was. Um, as a man, I saw that at least part of that struggle was that at one time they were down and out financially. But I started reading through the comments because I was going to make a comment myself, and there was a couple of comments that jumped out at me. And I saw the comments, and it just took me down this rabbit hole of all these women that were saying, "Oh yeah, when a man says thank you for being down with me during the struggle, yeah, thank you for staying with me even though I cheated." Da, da, da. I'm like, wow, where did you come up with that? But again, family, that's an emotional stronghold. It's a firmly rooted belief that and some people will literally live by this thing with conviction, but it's a deeply rooted belief that forms on the inside of us, and it causes us to look at everything through the lens of pain, through the lens of trauma, through the lens of disappointment, through the lens of betrayal, through the lens of repeated disappointments, right? And so that causes us to be reticent to and get connected in an intimate relationship. Or some people are just downright refusing. And it's a trip because deep down, many of these people who have that position and have that mindset, many of these people, they don't want to be by themselves. They don't. I know, because a lot of them reach out to me. By the way, for those of you that don't know me, I am the Entanglement Coach and CEO of Real Love Nation, which is a relationship development, premarital consulting, and divorce recovery firm. I bring you almost 22 years of pastoral counseling experience with a beautiful resume of political leaders, celebrities, athletes, and many people in the church that I've worked with over the years. And so I'm not just another talking head on social media. I am passionate about the mission that God has given me, which is all about building healthy love relationships. All right. So Um, I will make this last point and then I'll go ahead and uh, sign off for right now. We'll be back tonight. I'll be back on at 10 p.m. For the late night love chat, 10 p.m. Eastern. That's 9 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. on the West Coast. All right. But let me leave you with this last love nugget talking about emotional strongholds. What happens is, family, when you get hurt, a lot of us begin to shut our heart down and we'll call ourselves, we're guarding our hearts, right? That's what we will frame it as. We'll present it. Oh, I'm just guarding my heart. Oh no, I still do believe in love. I still do believe in marriage. Oh, I still believe it, but I'm just guarding my heart. Listen, a lot of people say they're guarding their hearts, but really they have shut their heart down. And that's because they have built a mental and emotional fortress around their heart, which again becomes a barrier to healthy relationships. And how you'll know this is true is because no matter what kind of person is introduced to them, no matter what kind of person they meet, the person who is struggling with emotional strongholds, they are always suspicious of every person they meet, or at least most people that they meet, most people that they talk to, they're suspicious. They're thinking, what is their agenda? I wonder what their motives are. Or even if they're needing something from you, they're wondering, I wonder what they've been about. I wonder what their life was like. I wonder why she's single or why is he single? They're of a certain age. Why are they single? Something must be wrong with them. I mean, and these are the kind of conversations that will happen from people, again, who are dealing with emotional strongholds. It's an eternal belief that literally speaks against what's really true because you hold true what your belief is. You hold true what your personal experience is. You hold true what your observations have been. And based on what you've observed in the life of others, which hasn't been good, then you hold that as truth versus what's really true. And what's really true is all men don't cheat. What's really true is, gentlemen, all women don't cheat. I've heard a growing number of men that are saying all women cheat. They just hide it better than men. And that part is true. Women do hide cheating better than men do. Men, we get sloppy. We get sloppy. We forget stuff. We forget all like, oh man, her earrings was in the car. Stupid stuff. Um, there is a mindset that speaks to what's really true. And that is, again, looking through the lens of expectation and believing the best of people rather than expecting the worst from people. All right. Miss Anisha said a high wall. Miss Anisha, you don't have a high wall over your heart, do you? So, family, once again, I'm inviting you. And Miss Anisha, you are very welcome to come. I would love to have you. I would be honored to have you in our group coaching starting tomorrow, March 7th, 12 p.m. I'm holding two classes every Saturday for the whole entire month of March. We're doing this awesome 4-week relationship intensive, preparing for real love. It's all about helping us to overcome blind spots. Again, I said it last night. I'm going to say it until Jesus comes back. If you have not been in a healthy dating relationship in the last 2 to 5 years, okay? Now, some of us are in a place. Let me first and foremost, let me preface that point by saying there are some people who are absolutely healthy, happy, and content in being single. There are some people who are content with being alone. My argument to that is that if that is your place, you have every right to be there, and I salute you for that place. But please don't say that God put you there. This is your choice. God created all of us to be free moral agents, and a lot of us are making our own choices and we're putting God's name tag on it. And God didn't do a lot of the stuff, just like God didn't put us in some of these marriages that we say, I'm suffering for the Lord. The Lord put me here because I'm called to it and he wants me to be an example. The devil is a lie. You married Elgin because that's what you wanted to do. Come on. You married Martha Sue because that's what you wanted to do. We blaming God. All right. But listen, Miss Anisha, it would be an honor to have you in the class. I would be glad to have you there. And all of you are welcome. Now, I only have about 10 spots left. Um, because I want to keep the classes really small and intimate versus the last time I held this class and I had 58 people that registered, way too many. So, boom, I would love to have you. And Miss Inessa said, I've passed that mark. Yeah. So Miss Inessa, and this is not a judgment, okay, but this is what I've learned in 22 years of pastoral counseling, that relationships are like anything else we do in life. Think about this. Anything that you haven't done in years, you're not going to be as proficient at it, whether it's driving, whether it's swimming, whether it's riding a bike. If you haven't done it in 5 years, I don't care if you were an Olympic gold medalist, you're not going to just dive back in the pool and operate at the same level of proficiency as you did when you were doing it every day, right? That's bike riding, that's swimming, that's anything we do, and certainly relationships. Because in relationships require, okay, Miss Anisha, relationships require, Miss Anessa, it requires adjustments, changes, and sacrifices. If you're going to be in any healthy relationship, especially for a romantic relationship, you got to make adjustments, changes, and sacrifices. All right. So there's a rhythm to that, and we're doing that for one another as a man and a woman, right? So if you haven't done that in 2, 3 to 5 years or more, you're out of rhythm. You are out of touch. And it doesn't mean that you can't get back there. You can. I just worked with a couple just last year. They got married. They're in their 70s, y'all. They're in their 70s. And Bishop Joyce Lewis, she came through my class. She was in that class with me for 6 months. I gave those women, that group, 47 sessions. Now, this group, I'm not giving y'all all of that. I'm giving y'all 4 weeks. But the last time I held this class, Preparing for Real Love, it turned into 40. It just evolved into that. I didn't plan for it to go that long. But every time we went deeper and deeper, and each week they said, oh, Coach G, can we go deeper? Can we keep going? And so we did. By request, I kept going. From that group, Miss Inessa, I now have 5 women that are married and 3 women who are engaged to be married. 2 women are getting married this year from this course that I'm giving you all starting tomorrow, Preparing for Real Love. All right. So we have fruit. Again, I'm not just some talking head on social media, y'all. God has blessed me with a gift of wisdom and insight regarding relationships. And that's not because I'm perfect and because I always got it right. I have not always gotten it right. But by his grace, he's given me wisdom and insight that can help you get prepared so that your relationship ready. All right. So that you don't waste time even entertaining somebody in a relationship that doesn't deserve your time. All right. We help you identify counterfeits. We help you identify imposters. We help you to discern and expose wolves in sheep's clothing. All right. So this is the class for you. If you believe that 2026 is your year, finally, let's go. Register for this class, Preparing for Real Love. Now, again, we're going every Saturday in the month of March. What if you can't make one of the classes? What if you can't make a couple of them? That's okay. Register anyway, because every one of our classes is going to be on Zoom. Okay. So, with that, you'll be able to receive it via email, all the replays, and you can watch it anytime you want. You can listen to it while you're driving to work. You can listen to it at work, hopefully not. And you can listen to it or watch the video anytime you'd like. All right. Miss Anisha said you might just do more. It could. I don't know. I follow God. So we have it designated right now that this is a 4-week course. If God tells me at the end or toward the end, he says, hey, I want you to go another couple of weeks, and everybody wants it, everybody's hungry. Hey, my grandmother taught me, hey, if people are hungry and you got the ability to feed them, feed them. That is a Hightower rule. That's a Hightower law. Somebody's hungry. My grandmother, we had big barbecues in my grandmother's backyard in South Central LA. People would see smoke. Sometimes people would just walk in off the street and walk in our backyard. We'd be like, hey, who's this? He said, oh, I smell some barbecue. Y'all got some food? My grandmother be like, hey, let him in. We're going to feed him. My grandmother fed anybody who came. And so from a spiritual perspective, I take that same principle now with me. Anybody that says I'm hungry, I'm going to feed you. All right. So preparing for real love, there it is. There's how you can register. I thought we would have it loaded up on the site. It is not loaded up on the site. Please forgive me. I do have a website. My website is readytoloveagain.com. So you can go there and see that the brother's legit. Say, wait, hold on. How come he just on there? How come he ain't got no website? He does have a website, readytoloveagain.com. Go check it out. But we could not get it up. I was trying to load it up myself because I was tired of paying people $100, $200 to do stuff for me. And I failed miserably. So the course is only $97, y'all. $97 for 4 weeks. All right. You spend more than $20, $25 on lunch, and definitely spend more than $25 at dinner, right? So it's less than $25 a week, $97. And you're going to get this level of coaching that you won't get this level of coaching anywhere for $97. I promise you. You can Google it for yourself. You will not get this level of coaching, teaching, and impartation anywhere for $97. All right. Trust me, I know a lot of the consultants and coaches that are out there, and they're charging way more for the kind of information that I'm going to be sharing with you over the next 4 weeks. So if you want to register, boom, there was the information right there at the bottom. You can register via Venmo or Cash App. Now, let me know. Ms. Anisha, I'll talk with you as soon as I end this broadcast. We'll connect on in the inbox. And others of you that are interested, all you got to do is let me know. Shoot me an inbox message, or you can just comment right here. Hey, just put the word class. I want to come. Let me know, and then I'll connect with you offline, and we'll get you in that class and get you ready. All right. Love and blessings to you, fam. This is your brother G Hightower. Again, I will be back tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. on the West Coast, which is the best coast, you know. And we'll go deeper tonight. We'll go deeper in this topic tonight on emotional strongholds, relationship barriers. All right. Blessings, fam. This is your brother, Coach G. I'm out. We'll see you later by God's grace.